What's up, everyone? It's Phantom. Making another crypto video. The little dog wants to help out on this one, so she might be here for a little part of the stream. So we're just going to talk about some of the charts, outlook on the market, look up some crypto news events that happened today. Just kind of hang out and go over things. So we'll start with the market. I mentioned this in yesterday's stream, and I posted on Twitter. It got some attention. Still new to this, but it did get quite a bit of attention yesterday. That just around the time of my streaming, it had only been 5 hours into this daily candle, and we had already reached over half of the volume from the previous day. So I went ahead and got in early, not financial advice by any means, but saw this happening and decided to jump in, and it paid off today. It cracked 27 cents, almost 27.50. So from yesterday, it was about $3 in a day for a $25 tokens. It's not bad at all. So I'll take that as a definite win. I think the upside might start to slow down some with all of the Ukraine concerns and the global crises going on right now. It makes me a little bit more hesitant to jump right into this. Just sitting where we're sitting now. I closed out my trade at $27, but I am cautiously optimistic. We have more great volume today already. We're only 3 hours into this candle, and about almost halfway to where we were at 2 days ago, as far as what could be considered a quote-unquote normal type of volume day. So I think we're starting off with a lot of volume, which is good for more upside movement. So I am happy about that. We do have quite a big chunk of resistance up here at the 30-cent level. That's going to take quite a bit for us to get through. So yeah, I think this is our next block of resistance that we're gonna really. I think it'll take some chewing through, unless just craziness hits the markets and we just go parabolic, which I don't see happening at the present moment, especially with all the concerns of today. But yeah, I am overall happy with this, and I think of all the coins that I currently watch out for, I'm happy to take any recommendations, but the coins that I'm watching, this is one of the most promising for upside potential, at least for the next short period of time. So this is still one that I'll be watching along with the news to see if we continue this volume push, and if we continue this volume push, I think we may have enough substance to start trying to crack into this 30-cent or $30 resistance range that I've drawn here. So that's my thoughts on Neo. Bitcoin is a little bit of a different story. This is a weekly drawing that I have here. Let me reset these volume candles. So this is actually now this is support turned resistance. I don't I don't see. I know there's a bunch of people calling for 38K as a resistance block, and I can see where they're getting the number. Um, between here and here is a weekly support, but I think if we drop down to 38, there's pretty high potential that we rip through 38 and go down to 30. I don't see it as holding that strong. Yeah, there's nothing I see that shows 38K being the ultra strong layer of support. If we look back at the weekly chart, we do have a good chunk of support. It's further back down, but let's draw it out here. So I would say the next support level would be, it'd be in this 32 to 32K region is what I'm thinking. Outside of that and previous support, which is right around the 38K region, I don't see, or 30K region. I don't see a ton of support. I think if we break the 32K region down to the 30K region, I think we're in for further downside. There's no real support structures until we get down to 19K that have been set up on a weekly basis. So yeah, I hate to be bear news, but this doesn't look awful to me. I mean, support's doing what it's supposed to do, right? It's holding the price. But the more we test this, the more it chews through that support zone. I drew these back in the middle of last year, and they kind of have held up well. For the most part, I think I drew those on a 3-day chart back in June, something similar to that. But to me, this doesn't look awful. I think if we broke through this set of resistance, if we come up and created a support again, and then we bounce off that support, I see potential for higher. I think if we break this 58K here, I think we moonshot. There is promising things to happen, but the world needs to calm down some. Unfortunately, the cryptocurrency market's still coupled close to the S&P, and the S&P is just getting wrecked. Tesla's down to 850. XPEV is down another 4% today. I mean, Fastly was down 15% yesterday, and it's down another 2-3% today. And the markets are closed on Monday. So with the regular markets getting wrecked, like it's tougher for Bitcoin to do well. I think there's going to be a lot of eyes on crypto this weekend because it is a 3-day weekend. The other markets are closed on Monday. So I'm hopeful. My fingers are crossed. But yeah, we'll go into some of the news stories that I saw for today. One is the SEC requested Ripple unseal their legal memos, and they're more than happy to do so. The co-founder, Chris Larson, one of the two individual defendants in the high-profile lawsuit filed by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) against the blockchain company, do not oppose unsealing pivotal legal memos in their entirety, according to the recently submitted federal judge. XRP, if you don't know, Ripple as a company has been poised for this fight since just after they started. They hired some of the best, I believe, some of the best attorneys that the SEC had at the time and put them on the Ripple bench. They've always been out in the open proponent of, following the rules, trying to do things regulated and in a controlled fashion. And for the SEC to come down on them, I think they couldn't have chosen a worse target, but a better target for the crypto community, because I think Ripple's going to come out on top of this, and it's going to be, I think it's going to be a crushing blow for the SEC to lose that. So yeah, I thought this was really cool. Usually any type of questions to unseal or disclose private documents is something people fight tooth and nail, but Ripple was very much saying, yeah, go for it. Go ahead and open them up. We have nothing to hide. We've been transparent through the whole process, and they're ready for this fight. So I'm really excited to see what that court case goes, see what happens. The other news story I found interesting, did the top 3 Bitcoin addresses just call another local bottom? There's 3 addresses that have been watched with 100,000 Bitcoin accumulated. The Bitcoin addresses that hold more than 100,000 Bitcoins on their balances are followed by investors, and their activities are closely monitored. Usually, depending on if these wallets are buying or selling, the amounts are large enough that they can move the needle more than a few inches. This time around, the wallets have been accumulating, and the collective balances have reached a critical point. On-chain analysis firm Santiment recently reported that 3 Bitcoin wallets holding more than 100,000 Bitcoins have been increasing their holdings over the past year. These wallets, which have had a collective balance of 260,000 coins by February last year, have more than doubled their holdings in the space of a year. They've added a collective total of 404,000 Bitcoin, bringing their balance to 664,000 Bitcoin, which is incredible. This is not a new record, but close to the previous all-time high. These balances of the the 3 wallets in June of last year. And if you remember, June of last year is when we started popping off again. That's when, the bottom of, if we go back to June, yeah, that was right around this period right here. So just about the local bottom before we moonshot it again. So they may be doing the same thing here. Fingers crossed. It's great news. People that have the amount of money to accumulate this amount of Bitcoin. Obviously, they have a great deal of money and usually follow the money for some of the best advice. So I saw this article and it stuck out to me, and I figured to discuss it tonight and bring it up to anybody's attention that watches the stream. Really cool. I was really excited to see it. The last article I caught my eye was the Kraken CEO warns users to get your coins out of centralized exchanges. This is coupled to the awful events. The banks are freezing and liquidating bank accounts owned by the truckers in Canada that are protesting. The fact that a government feels it has the right and power to control monetary value for individuals standing up for what they think is right in a protest, not a, there doesn't matter what they're protesting. Protesting's a right, and for the government to control their funds, to basically sanction them like they would fight a country at war, right? So it's not much different than the sanctions they're going to try to slap on Russia. They're doing to their own citizens that don't agree with their government policy. I'm not on either side of it. the what they're protesting isn't my point of this. The fact that the government feels that it can freeze accounts and now is trying to freeze cryptocurrency wallets. And the CEO of Kraken was asked if he were asked to freeze an account or a wallet on his exchange, if he would do so, and he said we'd be forced to. So that's what prompted him to say, get your coins out, because the governments can't stop the peer-to-peer transactions, but they still do have leverage over these centralized exchanges where they have the power to stop an individual wallet because it hasn't been decentralized enough. Actually, Vitalik came out today and said something similar. He was referencing that the problems in Canada outline exactly the need for Bitcoin and a decentralized global currency that can remove the power from those that can be corrupt and give it back to the people, which is where the power should be. That's what the whole idea was when the governments were established, is that it was power of the people, for the people, by the people, and they're abusing it. So decentralization, giving the power back to the people, I think is a strong step in the right direction, and I am very happy that at least it's getting noticed. That it sucks that it has to get noticed in a way that people are punished, but there's no better argument for Bitcoin and decentralization, except for when governments try to become fascist regimes. So yeah, those are the articles that I thought were interesting. As far as the market, I think a lot's going to depend on what happens in Ukraine. Markets are, technical analysis is, I think, I made a comment today, I think it's spot on. Emotions run heavy. Taking an analytical approach is a great way to do things, but news does play into the driving factors. Because part of technical analysis is invalidations, right? We can say the support zone's it better damn hold, but if support's broken, then that's an invalidation of our belief. And people that are bank on support holding and taking longs at that point, it's invalidated, and that's why stop losses exist, right? So you can get out of the market without taking too much of a punishing blow. But I think when things get invalidated, some of the time it's because news plays an important part today, especially with as readily available as news is, and sad to say, but manipulative news can be. It's playing possibly a bigger part than it's ever have before on what these markets are doing and how things are playing out. But yeah, that said, I'm okay with these levels. I think we still have a head and shoulders type in play here, or a reverse head and shoulders. But I'll be watching very closely over the long weekend. I'll try to still do my videos every night. But I think my one to watch still right now at the present moment is still Neo. They got really good news. I think they were helping the Central Bank of China with integrations, and I think that's about when this started to pop off. But they also have a reset on their weekly chart, so it'll throw off my drawing, but you'll get an idea. Yeah, RSI is into oversold territory, so I'm hoping, we came close to a local bottom here as well, and we crank on up, but only time is going to tell. Bitcoin really has the power here. If Bitcoin rips down, Neo is going to continue to get strained, even though it's has the volume and every indicator says that this should push up. Bitcoin crashing, Neo can't continue to do as strong. So we are, Bitcoin's our anchor right now. But yeah, everything's so coupled to Bitcoin. I don't see anything else that's really standing out chart wise. I think Cardano's still sitting at $1. Yeah, the new tether. It's just chilling at its $1 level. I did see a funny picture today. At the meeting, there was Charles Hoskinson and Vitalik were sitting across the room from each other. Both created Ethereum. Obviously, both are off to do their own projects now. But yeah, it's a small world, and they're in the same space too. So it's not the last time they'll see each other. But it's funny when you can catch the two of them in a picture together, because they did change so much of this marketplace. Yeah, this is the S&P. It in pain. It doesn't look strong. It's been ripping on down. So my last hope is what everybody's been calling, which is the 38K region, which is fine. I don't know. I don't see a ton of support there. I don't know how long we'll chill there, if at all. I think that's more of a level we'll rip through, but been around before. So my hope is that we continue to hold strong on our 40,000 level, and eventually break through this support that's now turned resistance, and we bounce off of it and moonshot up is what my fingers are crossed for. But yeah, we'll see. There's nothing exciting really going on. The markets are boring as shit. So there's not really a ton to. It's all dependent on, I think we need some good news to come out to really turn things around. And Biden came out with a speech today that wasn't great for markets. He believes that Putin's already made his decision, and that invasion is what his decision is, and that's sad. It's a bad place. Nobody wants war, and because the innocents are gonna pay the prices, right? Like, they're gonna pay the consequences for power hungry totalitarian governments trying to do everything they can for just more power. So I hope it doesn't. I'm still on the side that I really hope it's just bolstering and puffing out their chests and strutting around, and that nothing comes from it would be ideal. If Biden is right and Putin does try to take a move to take over Ukraine or invade Ukraine, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly for everybody involved. It's going to be ugly for markets. it's going to be ugly for all the families, which is the saddest part of all this, because they just, there's so many people innocently put in harm's way, and it's not necessary. It's such an ugly thing. So yeah, that's it. Other than that, everything's bleeding. I don't even know if we can find something that's pumping. Yeah, the biggest gainer is, in the last hour at least, is Neo. That's one we called out yesterday on stream. Let's see. Smooth Love Potion. Okay. Yeah, I don't know, the 24 hours not sorting correctly? Go CoinGecko. It looks like the hour is though, and Neo's still holding strong. Looks like we've come down quite a bit. I know in the June, July, August time frame we were riding high. Let me zoom out some. If we go to a weekly chart, things were great. Things were sunshine and rainbows. We didn't make new highs, but we went up to almost $150 a token, and we came down hard. So I'm hoping that we get another substantial move up, but again, it's going to be largely dependent on Bitcoin behaving. And for Bitcoin to behave, I think the news cycles have to kind of calm down. They're always going to find something to report on, but global catastrophes are a little bit more impactful than grocery stores running out of toilet paper. So not to say that COVID wasn't a big event, but I mean, they talked about and memed about the toilet paper for weeks on end. Let them talk about weather or something like that. Don't give them the narrative of a war or something like that, because they're going to, for their headline catches, they're gonna make things grim and bleak, and it might not even happen. So I'll be watching the news, waiting to see how it plays out. I'll be probably streaming some. I haven't been streaming the games. I've been recording some of them. I don't know if there's demand for it. I play all kinds of games at night. Do some Python coding. So I'll be taking it easy, but wanted to make sure I give an update on the markets tonight. And yeah, if you find this content helpful, or would like to see any type of different content, just follow me. You can send me a private message. You can I have an account on YouTube as well with a couple of videos. You can comment on that. But until then, have a safe weekend. Have a safe Friday night, and I hope we see green. That's all I can say. Until the next one, peace.